Israel, shalom, shalom, shalom. Hope everybody's doing twab today. Once again, shout out Kyle Cobb's congregation in Guatemala. I hope everybody is doing well, doing strong, fighting a good fight. No, not that. The one back there. The one after that. The one that there. It's the top right light. I made it a mistake. Top right. Yeah, top right. There's three lights. The three light panel, yes. It's the top one on the right side of the panel. There we go. We're good. Okay, once again, shalom everybody. Hope everybody's doing twab. Also, shout out Kazakia and SOW in Virginia, SOW Houston, Quatazop and SOW Rochester, New York with Zion. I hope your brothers and sisters are doing well today. What we're going to do today is go over or continue to go over the topic we've been hitting for the last few weeks. And the title of the class is Israel's Pride and the Lies We Tell Ourselves. This is a topic that is, matter of fact, let me do this. I messed up. Yeah. This is a topic that is very important to continue to push. What's going to happen? Do this. So this is a topic that is important to continue to drive, because as a nation, our pride and the disconnect between our battles and how we perceive ourselves is significant as to why we're not getting the blessings and the acknowledgments that we think we deserve in the Lord. And that is the catalyst or the reason why there's so much unhappiness, why a lot of our people feel disenfranchised serving the Most High, and why there isn't a lot of peace of mind in the work that we do for the Lord.
And with what you're saying, it's also why the brokenness inside of us doesn't get fixed.
Kind of. Because the truth be told, the Most High is not going to heal any of us or bless us unless we pursue spiritual healing, pursue accountability, and pursue fixing the things in ourselves. But these things can't actually come to fruition if we continue to be deceivable. We're going to go into more dictionary and definition work to explain the verse we're going to start off at, Ecclesiastes chapter 10, verse 12, and then 18 and 19. Ecclesiastes is in the Apocrypha, chapter 10, verse 12, then verse 18 and verse 19. Let's start off and read that.
Ecclesiastes chapter 10, verse 12. The beginning of pride is when one departed from his power.
So what he's telling us is the beginning of pride is when we depart from the Most High. But we depart from the Most High initially with how we think, with how we process, with how we look at our life, what we're going through, and how we react to what we're going through. So we start departing from the Most High. We start having pride when we stop seeing things the way the Most High sees things.
So
that is the beginning of pride. When you have an idea, you have a strong feeling of how things are and how they should be, but that doesn't fit with how the Most High looks at things.
So I stopped seeing things in the context of the way the Lord sees things. So because my perspective is out of context,
yes,
with the Heavenly Father.
Yep.
Because we know someone teaches the Bible and it teaches the scriptures out of context, we get mad.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not out of context.
Who changed the truth of God into a lie? How about that?
That's out of context.
Yes.
We'll say that.
Yep.
But we don't say that our thoughts are also out of context.
And we're in accordance with the Lord.
That's the problem.
And because our thoughts are out of context with the Lord, that is the beginning of pride. And that's when we start distancing ourselves from the Lord. So what that means is You can follow the basic laws, the 1, 2, 3 shuffle, and still be disconnected to the Heavenly Father and wonder why the Most High is departing from you or separating from you or not rocking with you. Okay? So read verse 12 again.
God. The beginning of pride is the one departed from the Most High, and his heart is turned away from his Maker.
So his mind is turned away from his Maker. This is what pride looks like. When how you look at things, what makes sense to you, what you value, isn't on how you process things, is not how the Most High wants you to process things. That's that disconnect. Okay? Now let's continue and jump to verse 18 and 19.
Ecclesiastes 10 and 18. Pride was not made for
So
men.
the Most High is saying, we were not made to have our own thoughts. We were not made to be these independent thinkers, to think how we wished, and to move how we want to move, and to feel how we want to feel. Because he told you what pride was. When your heart, your mind is separated from your Maker. We weren't created to have these independent thoughts, these separatist thoughts, the way of processing trauma, way of processing adversity and affliction the wrong way. Not properly learning how to process whatever the Most High is putting you through. For those of us who are completely ignorant to how to handle adversity, literally Psalms gives you a step-by-step booklet.
Yeah.
For you to sit back here and process how to handle adversity, how to spiritually look at things that don't go your way. This is why David is renowned as much as he is, because he gave us such clarity and depth through his adversities, lessons we don't use now. The Most High gives us plenty of examples of how to think, how to process things, because we were not created. Every one of us has our own set of adversities, our own set of negative circumstances that we all go through. But this is the issue. With those circumstances, none of us are allowed to look at those circumstances outside of the framework the Most High wants us to look at. And this is what separates and creates so much distance between us and the Heavenly Father. So pride was not made for man. Read on.
Nor furious anger. For them that are born of a woman.
And these are the two issues that separate us from the Most High. One thing is, why, for the most part, why are we so angry in the first place? Why do we get angry? Because we tell ourselves we shouldn't have to go through what we're going through in the first place. We tell ourselves, how dare this person put me through this? How dare this person talk to me this way? How dare this person react to me in this unfavorable light? I don't deserve to go through this experience, which lets us know that's not how the Most High looks at you. Because if he did, he wouldn't have you in the circumstance, would he? That's true. That's true. If you weren't supposed to be in a situation, why's the Most High got you there? Because you're supposed to do it. So anger, it really comes out when you disagree with why you're going through what you're going through, why you're being put in circumstances that you don't want to be in. You get that point? I shouldn't be talked to by my boss this way. Well, the boss is talking to you this way. Why does the Lord have you with this boss? Why does the Lord have you with this man? Why does the Lord have this woman in your life? To show you where you're off at. So people get angry because they feel that what they're going through is unacceptable. That's why the Most High says furious anger is not made for them that are born of woman. How dare you say what's fair and unfair? How dare we say what's something that is unacceptable versus what is acceptable? Who the hell do we think we are? It just lets us know that our thoughts are completely disconnected from the Heavenly Father. And this is why we keep distancing ourselves from Him. Because how we act emotionally and how we process things spiritually continues to rear its ugly head to where we start being exposed for how we are faulty and how we process it. So, continue.
Now, verse 19, Ecclesiastes 10 and 19. They that fear the Lord are a sure seed.
But the ones that fear the Lord, their path is sure. Their path to salvation is sure. Because we read earlier about fear. Fear means what? To prefer. So a person that prefers the Lord, also, if I prefer the Lord's method, a way of looking at things, I also what? Don't agree with my whack taste.
Cam, both.
My whack emotional process.
Yeah.
My zany way of looking at things. My emotional way of looking at things. My irrational way of looking at things. If you choose the Most High, He says you are a sure seed. You'll have sure counsel. You'll have sure solution. So why is it so important? A lot of our people will listen to words given to them in counsel, but do they think like the counsel they're given? No, they don't. We don't think like the counsel that's provided to us based on scripture, experience, and history of operating in certain things. We don't follow the way people think. So what we'll do is we'll operate the way we want with our own. We'll follow the physical action of counsel, but with our own mind. That's not a sure seed. That's not a sure. You're not going to get a sure resolution now. So read it again from the top, verse 19.
Come. They that fear the Lord are a sure seed.
They that fear the Lord are a sure seed. Read on.
And they that love Him are an honorable plant.
And they that love Him are an honorable plant. Continue.
They that regard not the law are a dishonorable seed.
So there's certain people that have realized through studying and through counsel never to trust their natural perception of how life should be or how life is. And they choose to always look and seek and counsel and reach out to people who can teach them the spiritual way to do it. Those are the sure-seated people. Then the dishonorable seed are the people who just have made a decision. I'm not about to the Most High. I want to do me. I want to live the life I want to live. Forget everybody else. Right? Read on.
They that transgress the commandments.
But the ones who transgress, who are inconsistent, who are high and low, who are unpredictable. The Most High is saying the ones who transgress His commandments, the dishonorable ones do too. But they are willingly anti-serving the Most High. This third group says they want the Most High, says they want to learn the Most High, says they want to cleave to the book, but they're still transgressing. Those type of people are not trustworthy. They're not consistent people. So these people who are transgressing the law and are inconsistent, read on.
They that transgress the commandments are a deceivable seed.
They are a seed of people who are deceivable. Deceivable because they are susceptible to being influenced by other people. Why are people? Remember this? Remember that guy, Sam Friedman? This is Edomite guy that's in jail. He hustled all these stars from millions out through Bitcoin. Remember that guy? He like this big juice bro?
Yeah.
And he looked like the most innocent guy in the world. Bankman, yes.
Yeah, Bankman with the ATX.
Yeah, it was Friedman, FTX.
Yeah.
But how do people get scammed? They get scammed because their lust gets pricked. Your lust, your desire, your greed gets you caught up in a scam. How does gambling make so much money? These guys are literal pros at running these lines. And these people lose way more than they earn. Why do you keep doing it? You want to lie to yourself and tell yourself, You know, I know the odds are all against me, but I think I can win. Where are you getting this from?
Time.
How is it your time? When all the odds say you're not going to win. Why keep doing it?
That's what you said.
Because you believe in what you feel and not these crazy numbers. Why do you believe that you can buck the system and beat the system? Because you're a liar. Just like we think we can buck and beat the house in Vegas, we think we can beat the house with the Lord and do it my way and still succeed. We're no different. We think we do it our way without following proven and tried methods that work and how you process things. The proven and tried methods starts with your outlook. As a man thinketh what? So everything starts with how you look at scenarios, how you process people, how you process how people deal with you, how you process affliction, how you process exhaustion, how do you process disrespect, how do you process things not going your way. It all starts with that. Because if you process that wrong, now you're beginning your way of separating yourself from the Most High. Now you're disconnected. So, with that being the case, we've gone over this 2 week. This is our third week talking about this verse. But there's 3 types of people in this world. The people who no longer choose their mind, and they have made a decision to not put their mind first and to prefer the Lord's way of looking at things. That's one. Then you have the ones who have no desire to serve the Most High on any level. They do them. Then it's everybody else in the middle that serves the Most High the way they want to serve the Most High, the way they think is proper to serve the Most High. And that's the deceivable seed that is susceptible to being influenced from the outside world. And more importantly, you lie into yourself. You're a liar to yourself. If it's the verse, I don't want to go with the verse.
Non-verse.
What is it?
Sure.
Okay.
Just to clarify, sure.
Okay.
Sure.
This is a sure seed from the honorable seed.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's firm, stable, steady, not liable to failure, loss, or change.
And all of us, and what does that mean? We tied this in to Wisdom of Solomon 9 last week and Romans 10. What it's saying is when you sit back here and choose the outlook the Most High wants you to choose, but half the time, okay, we're not going to the answer, but when you choose the Most High's method, it's guaranteed to work. When you choose how the Most High looks at things, you're guaranteed to work. That's the surety. Now, it's guaranteed to work in whose favor? The Most High's favor. And that's why people don't want to do it. Because it doesn't work in their favor. This is why what we want and what the Most High wants has to align together. You got more of that?
There's more. It says, number 7, certain, not liable to failure.
Mm-hmm.
It says, certain of obtaining or retaining, to be sure of success.
Got it. So he's telling you when you follow the process of how the Most High wants you to handle the adversity that he sets up in front of you, you will succeed and be acknowledged from the Most High. But too many times, each and every one of us choose our method. We choose what we think is right. And then we pull up snake eyes. What he's saying, and we end up transgressing. All the transgressing means we're inconsistent. This is why if you're honest with yourself, whenever you choose your method, it fails. When you take the spiritual method, it works. It's that simple. Now we're going to go into some definitions about self-deceived. Now, give me them self-deceived in 1828, correct? Okay. Self-deceived, sir.
I got deceived.
No, there's a self-deceived in there.
Self-deceived. Deceived or misled. Respecting oneself by one's own mistakes
It
or errors.
says deceived or misled because we respect or fear or prefer ourselves and our own way. And this happens to us all of the time. And our number one excuse why we prefer ourselves is because we say, I've gotten this far by my own way. Right? I've literally heard that. I have to protect myself. I couldn't trust anybody in the world. Okay, fine. Pull out your heart. You can play that note wonderfully. It still doesn't change the fact that as long as you keep trusting yourself, you won't get the Most High's acknowledgement. When you do it your way, every time you do it your way, you distance yourself from the Heavenly Father. Every single time you do it your way, you separate yourself and you depart from Him. Not Him from you. You depart from Him. And when we do things our way and we depart from Him, we expect the Most High to reward us for departing from Him. Think about that. There's some more definitions. We went over that one last week. This is I don't say Wikipedia, but on Google. This is a Google version of self-deceit. It says means actively, yet often unconsciously, until you counsel them, then it's conscious. Creating a false reality to ignore the truth about one's own sin. A lot of times we create false realities about why you made these negative decisions, why you disobeyed orders, why you didn't follow counsel, why you didn't sit back here and do things the right way. Everybody has a reason why they're out of order. You ever notice that? What? Everybody has a good damn reason why they can't just follow simple orders, why they can't maintain their discipline and their orders or their order or their composure. Everybody has an excuse, but the excuse is the lie you tell yourself. Yes.
Is one of those things downplaying the severity of it?
Con. Well, they didn't con. And that's going to be another definition that goes into there. Because we downplay things, because it's easier to downplay it than to accept the magnitude of your failures and your sickness and the magnitude of the damage you do to people. Nobody also wants to realize the magnitude of their sins or the magnitude of their conduct. I know people who want friendship, want brotherhood, but their conduct pushes brothers away from them. Then they're curious and they don't understand why they don't have bonds. How can you get bonds, have strong relationships, and push everybody that tries to be your brother away? How can you do it? And then what you say is, these brothers aren't brothers, they don't love you. Well, is it that? That's the lie you tell yourself. Or there's no brotherhood. Is it no brotherhood, or you're a poor brother? Or you're a poor friend? What's that?
Or the person thought, which a lot of us play, is I'm just not good enough, people.
Yeah.
And people will never care about me. I'm never going to be loved enough or respected enough to make friends.
But they don't say why they're not good enough.
Yeah.
They're not.
Or they'll say they're not good enough, but it's in a sarcastic statement. They're not saying, I have a lot of things that got to work.
They don't say that.
No.
They say, nothing I do will ever be good enough to be embraced with these people. And it's like, is it that? Or maybe, why don't you ask why I'm not accepted? Why I'm not embraced? Why don't you ask? That's the $1 million question. Or these sisters don't like me. Or these brothers don't like me. Why? Okay, let's go extremely say they don't like you. Why do they poo-poo? Why do they do? Why do they sit back here and turn their noses at you? Why do they do it? Maybe your conduct is rancid to them. Maybe you stink in how you carry yourself. Is that out there of a possibility? How come nobody talks about that?
That's a real conversation.
Maybe I'm not friendly enough. Maybe I don't listen enough to receive friends. And you know what? And that's okay, because that can be worked on. But I'd rather say I'm the victim. I'd rather say that people just don't like me, or nobody cares in Israel. Whoa. Nobody cares in Israel. That's a great answer. There's no, every time I heard there's no brotherhood. Well, the brotherhood is over here on 223 Sheriff. The brotherhood is here on 4444 Walls. The brotherhood was on 4219 Syndicate. So if you want brotherhood, why aren't you here where the brotherhood happened? So brotherhood got to be at your house? Want to be brotherhood? It's got to be at 777 Mockingbird Lane. It's got that's where brotherhood is at. Wherever the hell your house is, that was the address of the monsters at. Remember that? Anyway, the monsters at. The Munster Act. Herman Munster Act. The weirdos at that creepy house act.
Yeah.
They want you to go to their creepy house. They don't want to sit back here and come to the house of the Lord and adapt to the house of the Lord. That's the point. That's the thinking. And that's how that is an aspect of self-deception. Because you have to align yourself to my poor behavior. And if you don't align yourself to my mood swings and my disrespect, you don't have any love in your heart. You're a liar. People don't need to adapt and conform to your sick. Maybe at the job, huh? But not in real life. I'm just explaining how we lie to ourselves, how we create a narrative to justify one's own sin, one's own fallibility. That's right.
I was gonna say, we'll throw all those smoke bombs too, or because we truly don't even want to put the work in to fix ourselves. We'll use all those different angles to not want to fix the issue.
Of course, because you know why? It's easier to say I'm the victim. It's easier to say that there's no love in Israel. There's no brotherhood in Israel. Nobody cares. So then when you say nobody cares, then it justifies me distancing myself from the body and working on the issue. Or it's the same thing about people that sit back and talk about brotherhood and not just deal with the fact that I have real issues being in the book. I have trust issues. I have outlook issues. We never can get to that. There's so many brothers we work with that we never can get to the real issues with them. There's so many walls of defense.
And 9% of their life is just pointing fingers.
And it's
They're
pointing fingers.
master finger pointers, and that's why you could never ever get to the core of the apple.
And I'm gonna say this, and this is not a what do you call it? A dart.
It's like
But for brothers who want to get ranked up in the truth, for sisters who want to grow in responsibility with the sisters. You know one thing that's a commonality between sisters and brothers who don't grow? The one commonality is the lack of transparency. You don't get people that rank up if they don't come clean with what's really going on with them. Because most people that don't rank up, all they want to do is show you fake strength. They want to show you I'm on point. They want to spin all issues to point towards strength in somebody else's fault.
Yep.
People who want to grow have to show vulnerability, have to confess, have to own up to what's dirty in.
like the Bible said.
Like the Bible says. We're going to go on to it. But that's the difference between the individual on top of work ethic and being on time and being an order. All that stuff is cool. But if you can't even own up to what's inside of you, how can a person trust you? How can the Lord trust you?
Yeah.
The Lord's not going to trust you because you don't come clean. You lie. And the lies start with you.
I got to pull this definition of opaqueness. That's a word called being opaque.
We get Caucasian out here.
No, listen. No, opaque.
Opaque out here.
Listen.
What is opaque?
Listen, opaque.
That's like a clear, like a white, transparent. I know.
It's like you see the snake finally like let's go over his old skin. He has that old skin over his face, and you see his eyes turn, they become opaque. You can't see the eyes no more. It's just
Like Walking Dead eyes.
It's cloudy, almost like cloudy plastic eyes. That's how they look.
Yeah.
Well, that's called opaque, right? Opaque is the state or quality.
It's like a pearl cup.
Yeah, it's like a pearlescent, almost like a dirty plastic, that like you can't see the detail. it's very
cloudy white. It's like a pearl.
It's-
Pearl is
yeah,
cloudy white.
It's cloudy white, right? Opaqueness or opaque is the state or quality of being impenetrable to sight.
It's vague.
Yeah, not letting light through or difficult to understand. So when a person's opaque, the key point is you can't understand it. But why
And they want you to not understand it. It is purposeful.
they're intentionally being hard, obtuse, and they're intentionally being opaque. But that's associated with being deceptive.
Huh? Because people are liars that are opaque.
Yeah.
Because they don't want you to see them. Because if you see them, then there's nowhere to run. Now people have to actually fight. But that is one commonality with people who don't grow in this realm. Okay, because people, but also being opaque and whatever words you want to say and self-deceiving, that is a learned tactic in the world. Never to show your hand, never to show weakness. But that is pride. And that pride separates you from the Lord. That's what you have to let go in this realm if you want to grow like you say. Okay, we're going to go continuing that self-deceive, the second one. It says, means actively yet unconsciously creating a false reality, to ignore the truth about one's own sin, arrogance, or spiritual condition. And that goes to what you were saying. I mean, I think people downplay the magnitude of their negativity. They downplay their arrogance. They downplay their pride. They downplay the effect of their sin on others. That's how you know people are lying, because they don't listen to people when they tell you how your sin has made them react. They don't listen to that. They create this, you're bullying me complex. You're attacking me. You don't have no love for me. So you don't have no love for me when another person tells you the effect of your negative conduct on them. People say they deflect. They're deflecting. They're deflecting because they're self-deceivers. Does that make sense? This is prevalent amongst our people. Prevalent. Continue. I'm going to continue. It says, it is the dangerous, prideful state of believing one's excuses. But the thing is, you're going to keep believing your excuse because you never tell anybody your excuse. You don't tell anybody what's really in you.
For a reason.
You really don't come clean about what's going on. So you can keep lying to yourself and justify your excuses.
And this is self-deceit.
This is what self-deceit looks like in real time. This is in a lot of men and women in Israel, and this is why they can't cross over and truly grow. This is why you're just writing notebooks on notebooks of notebooks of notes, and nothing sticks. Or you're writing just tons of notes and the spirit ain't with you. Or the message doesn't really resonate in your spirit because you run around here protecting yourself with your lies. The defense is lies. As long as you keep doing that, you keep separating yourself from the Most High further and further and further and further. And this is the answer as to why your life in the Lord is unfulfilled. Because your life in the Lord should not be unfulfilled. Your life in the Lord should not be riddled with just sadness and disappointment and only loss. Because with everything we've given up for the Lord, everything we commit to every day for the Lord, the Most High gives back. But you won't receive that side of the Most High because you keep lying to yourself, hiding your true intentions, hiding where your heart's really at. Okay. Then it says, it is the dangerous, prideful state of believing one's own excuses, leading to a false sense of righteousness and a disregard for obedience of the Most High's word. This is in Google definition for stuff to see. Because it's the same thing. You are creating a false sense of what's right in your eyes. Because you'll tell yourself all the good things you're doing for the Lord, right?
Yeah.
But you won't sit back and consider all the ways you are disconnected and how you're disobedient from the Lord. Which what you want to only do is focus on your highlight tape. I gave this gift. I showed up to this. I gave I gave velvet cake at the last gathering. Oh, thanks. We appreciate the velvet cake. But what about your spiritual presence? What about your accountability and fixing what's inside of you? That's what matters. Or brothers will sit back here and work the zone for 10 years and have hate in their heart. Work the zone for 15 years and just be black-hearted on the inside. And they'll create their own form of righteousness saying, look at all the work I did for the Lord. Yeah. But
it wasn't God's.
But willfully does not fix the real things. Not fix the hidden man of the heart. Yeah. What? Okay. Now, this is we always go into the 1828. This is the 1828 in written form. It's like a huge bug squasher. But these dictionaries kind of tie in with the 1828 and they give you added definitions top of the ones you see online. Self-deceived means this. Two more. Self-deceived means holding an erroneous, false opinion of oneself. Let's look up erroneous.
That's the one right there.
He says we walk around here with an erroneous, false opinion of ourselves. A lot of people walk around, they're erroneous as hell. Have an erroneous opinion of who they are. Or what I think I should go, what I think I should have to go. What circumstances do I think I am above? Read on.
Erroneous, 1828. It says deviating, devious, irregular, wandering from the right course.
Listen, it's the wrong. To wander from the right course means you're wrong. Erroneous means wrong, in error, fallible, untrue. Listen, for those of us who've been in counsel and you're trying to give people sound advice, the biggest battle is getting people to own up to their opinions as being wrong. Because you'll sit back here. Have you ever been in counsel and you hear people talk and in the midst of a sentence or two, like 2 things are right and 4 things are erroneous as hell? Yeah. Objection, Your Honor. Hearsay. You wish you could do that in the middle of counsel. Yeah. You're like, that don't make no sense. That is an opinion. That's a true statement. That's an opinion. That's a feeling. That's an emotion. And having to sit back here and work through all of the erroneous feelings mixed into a counsel is what's exhausting. Oh, yeah. Am I right or wrong? Yeah. When you deal with the root of counsel, it ain't about right and wrong. The law is black and white. The scriptures in counsel is black and white, but we're all gray. Our answers are gray. How we look at things are different shades of gray. And that's the challenge, to get people's erroneous opinions of situations out of it and just stick with the spiritual facts. Even as I've heard, I know what that brother was thinking. Damn. You're a mind reader in here? You know what was on his mind? Are you sure you knew what was on his mind? Man, you got spidey senses, my guy. Yeah, you're gonna pick up on the spirit like that? You know that you know. The answer is no, you don't know. But why don't you say it what it is? You strongly feel this.
You don't want to say it.
Why don't you say you feel strongly about it? Because now I got you. Because you're capping that one. You're a captain. Yeah. Because you don't want to say feel. You're like, no, trust me, dog. I looked in his eye. I saw his face, man. Like, what? You can have the most frowniest face in the world. Doesn't mean that's where your heart was at. Am I right or wrong? Okay. People will use a feeling and a thought and all of a sudden make a thought and a feeling God. And we're acting like we walk through life trusting impressions and feelings and thoughts and think the Lord is with us. And we're not. We're completely out the spirit because we live off of feelings and don't stick to scripture and don't stick to sound counsel. And when we have that that deceivable seed based off perception and feel,
Yep.
now all of a sudden we're disconnecting from the Lord. The more we make decisions predicated by feelings, we're disconnected from the Lord. Okay, so we're going to continue in it says holding an erroneous false opinion of yourself and an erroneous wrong opinion, false opinion of one's own effort.
That's a major.
That is a major one. You know how many of us sit back here and tell ourselves, I did everything you could? I did everything I could. Well, how come the total doesn't show? How can you say you did everything you could, but the customer gave you a bad report? How can you sit back here and did everything you could, but you broke something on the job? How can you say you did everything you could, but you got into an argument with a client at the job? How can you sit back and say everything you could, but you don't know all the scriptures you need to know? But see, this happens to a lot of us. But then it's time for rank-ups. It's time for rank-ups, then what happened? Man, I don't think I was considered. I don't think I was considered. I think brothers overlooked me. You know why brothers say they're overlooked? A lot of times men think they're overlooked because they're self-deceived, because they hold an erroneous, false opinion of one's own effort. We think the effort we give should merit rank promotions, and specifically beyond rank. We think our effort deserves blessings. We'll sit back here and say, why, oh, why don't I have a ribbon? Why, oh, why don't I have a husband? Why, oh, why does my husband not want to be around me? But that, why, oh, why does he not find peace in me? Why, oh, why is my life and circumstance the way it is? I do this, I do this, I do this, and I do this, and I do that. But they never say what they don't do. What they continue to be wrong at. And it explains and proves. If you don't have the blessings you want, maybe it's because you haven't done enough. But nobody wants to give their mind to that. It's easier to be bitter. It's easier to be angry at the Lord and take it out on the brothers. Because that's what men do. Brothers be angry about their life and the truth and take it out on the men in the camp. Do they not? No. Wives do it. Wives are angry at their life, and who got to hear it? Their husband got to hear it while they're mad at God. Then all of a sudden, when they see you, they see horns. And they see a pitchfork guy. You're Diablo. It was just your fault. But it's based on your erroneous way of looking at things. The wrong perspective of how much work you say you bring to the table. Because you're not bringing to the table as much as you claim to bring to the table. That's the same kind of guy that produces C work and gets a C in class and is mad at the teacher.
Yeah.
Because the teacher don't like black folks. Oh, that's what it is. But you're not writing crappy like reports. Your reports are dog. You know what? I went to the store. After the store, I went to here. You're talking like that, and man, you're getting seasoned in writing. I did my best. Well, maybe your best isn't good enough yet. Does that mean you're a wicked person? All it means you got to work harder and ask more questions and dig deeper. But it's easier to lie to yourself and call yourself a victim than to own up to the fact that you got to do better. You have to carry yourself with better conduct and consistency if you want a greater reward. This is a major, major issue with people in general, but especially with Israel. We're going to keep going in these definitions, but I'm kind of going out of course, but I want to go to this verse.
Can I go one more definition of error? Because erroneous is the root word is error.
Okay.
Very simple. a mistake in judgment.
Mhm.
So if my perspective is mistaken in judgment, that means for the rest of my life, I'm going to keep making the same mistake.
Yeah.
Because how many people change their judgment?
I mean, listen, if you don't go through the process we're gonna go into later on in these classes about how to fix it, you're gonna keep. This is why. You ever notice your loved ones as they get older, they just get more negative about it. Whatever they didn't bring to the table in their youth, it just amplifies as they get older. It just amplifies. If they had a negative outlook, man, they don't trust nothing when they get negative. They later on in their years because it goes unchecked. That outlook goes unchecked. Whatever negative that they hold on to, it just goes unchecked and it gets worse and worse. People deteriorate spiritually more and more and more and more. Think about a loved one, an uncle, a grandfather, a grandmother, and think about their outlook and how they carry themselves. They might not have been this bad 15 years ago, but now like, this guy's unbearable. I gotta get the hell out the house. Listen, I know I lived it. I lived it in my own house. The negative outlook I put with my mother was one thing, and as she got older, it went unchecked. And it turned into this. It's almost like conspiracy theories times 15. And then everything that came out of her mouth came out like a police investigation TV show out. All she watched was like those murder mysteries, huh?
Yeah, that's
He killed her for the insurance money. Then it was set back and set her up. Everything was a setup. Oh, you trying to sit back and get rid of me. Whoa, where you get this from? You never will say I saw it on television like 30 times. You don't say that. Or 40 times in a 3-month basis.
That's all I watch.
Like, damn, all you watch is schemers, and hustlers and criminals.
Murder, death, kill, schemers.
That's all you watch. And then you wonder why the outlook of a circumstance is going to be horrible. This is why it is imperative that we take our time and explain these things. Because if we don't help teach Israel, we will sit back and go through life failing for 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, and walk in this delusion like life is unfair, the system is broken, camps don't work, truth needs an adjustment.
I wasn't getting a fair shot.
I didn't get a fair shot in the truth. Listen, so for people who say they didn't get a fair shot in the truth, how many people did you talk to get confirmation?
A lot.
1, 2 people?
No, a lot of people.
2?
I talk to people that fail.
If you're talking to, listen, can you get an objective answer if you're talking to quitters about why it was justified to quit?
Well, that's the internet. The internet's about, let me give you the algorithm that you like,
Yes.
so that you can believe what you want to believe. The white man, I hate to say that. He pimps that.
Listen,
I know you want to.
I gotta say this. I've been listening to Drake's album lately, right?
Yeah.
And I'll sit back here and I'll look at the breakdowns of what he's saying in his lyrics.
Yeah.
And I did it on Twitter. And every time you go through one Twitter thing, another one comes up. And they just kept giving me 1,000 scenarios on pro Drake. So what I need to do is sit back here and go into the pro Kendrick side and see how many times I get flooded with pro Kendrick scenario. Because I'm like, they're flooding me with painting Drake being the victim. And I'm like, okay. But it was like, it almost makes you believe it all the way and not see the other side.
Because you have confirmation. You have multiple.
Because they're giving you confirmation.
That's
of what you want to hear.
That's how people are starting to see.
And that's the thing. But they'll give you what you want to hear, regardless of my opinion.
Yeah.
But you can see how the algos start changing.
Yeah.
And then you'll sit back here and you'll push a MAGA post, and all of a sudden you're flooded with MAGA anger.
Yeah.
And if you sit back and read something that's liberal, then all of a sudden you just get flooded with liberal posts.
Yeah.
That's how it is. So I say that to say that Esau understands this, and they help fuel that one-way thinking we have.
Yeah.
But if you're really going to be connected to the Most High, are you at least going to objective people in the scriptures to help prove you wrong? The problem is we have to come into serving the Most High with the mindset to be proven wrong. And we don't have that. We don't sit back here and do this with the mindset to be proven wrong. We come into this situation to be proven right. And that's
That was one of the famous things. Speaking of online internet, that was Kevin Samuels' one of his famous angles was it's called sign language. Shame, insults, guilt, and then the last one was in, which is the need to be right. All he was pointing out was the common person that has to be right no matter what.
Yeah.
So these people were operating on camera and being delusional on camera, and it was such a good shot. I guess not rage bait, but it was like so easy to see the delusion online that he got millions of numbers.
Yeah.
People pull in. I want to see these delusional people. These delusional people are entertaining.
Yep.
Until we're the delusional people.
But see, there's different levels of extremeness in delusion. Listen, hold this and go to Titus 1 and 10. We're going to go back to these definitions because we have to take our time on the definition because it sets the premise for the whole thing. Titus 1 and 10.
God.
Titus chapter 1 and verse 10 read. For there are many unruly and vain talkers.
He said there's a lot of unruly, out of order talkers and vain, unruly people and vain talkers. We're going to go into vanity in a little bit, maybe next class. But vanity is just talking. What a vain talker is somebody who talks about things that have no guaranteed end, that have an end that is unproven. Because that's really what vanity is. It's communication that has no end, communication that's unproven. We've experienced for years men who have outlooks of things that haven't been challenged, haven't been proven, but they're going to say it's strong, they're going to say what's coming. But a lot of us have strong opinions of how we think life should be, how we think people have treated us. A lot of us have vain conversations about what we've gone through, what we perceive as fair and unfair. So there's a lot of unruly and vain talkers,
And deceivers.
and liars. But you're lying to who? You're lying to yourself by using the vain talk. A lot of us, and you can see it clearly in counseling. You can see it clearly in counseling. When you deal with men in counseling, you can see how they've trained themselves to only put themselves in the picture as being the victim. Most people have never taken the time to look at how their actions affect other people. You can tell it in counseling. But it's called they're angry on the phone. They only see it one way. And you try to get them to see another way, they get angry in response. Because they'll say, you're not listening to me. No, you are being listened to, but are you listening to me? And a lot of times people want to be given confirmation that their outlook is right versus coming into counsel open to the reality that the way I'm looking at things could be off. And that's what most brothers and sisters do not do. Because that is humility. Coming into an encounter, coming into a counsel with the willingness to realize, hey, I could be wrong, so I'm going to throw this out here and show them everything and let them chop it up how they see fit. How the Bible, through them, helps me see. Continue. Read it from the top again, verse 10.
Come, Titus chapter 1 and verse 10 reads, For there are many unruly and vain talkers and deceivers,
And lie.
especially they of the circumcision.
Especially Jews, guys. Especially the black man. Especially the black and Latino guys. They're the greatest of the liars. They're the greatest of the liars, and they're the greatest of the cappers, or the capital C. I know that. That's it. Thank you. Finally, somebody caught on to it, man. Thank you. Capitals with a capital C. Thank you. Bye-bye. That wasn't really that. If you would listen, he would hurt. What's the point out? We cap a lot because we lie and we talk about things that aren't true. We talk confidently about things that aren't true, about ourselves, about what we go through, about what we deem as fair or unfair. all of us have a lie to justify how we feel. I didn't do that bad. I wasn't that bad. How come I'm not blessed here? How come I don't get this? How come I don't get that? We all walk around here habitual liars. And because we lie so much, it takes us years to figure out the truth about ourselves so we can begin to start working and fixing ourselves. This is why there's so many bitter Israelite men and women in the realm. Because we walk around here with this disconnect about who we really are and what our value really is in the eyes of the Father. Okay, let's continue to go. We're going to go back to self-deceived definition. It says, being mistaken, forming an erroneous judgment on one's own mind. Then it says, so being mistaken, forming an erroneous judgment, a false judgment of how you look at things as from a careless or wishful thinking. We are wishful thinkers, and we're careless in how we process. We think, we tell ourselves, because we try, we should be rewarded. That's the carelessness of our mindset. Because we attempt something, then the sky should open, and the blessing and rainfall should drop out because we try. I say this, and I know this can come off negative. It's come off like I'm coming off entitled. But what we don't realize is we come out of the world as failures. We come out of the world as failures because we never finished anything.
Pass.
Let me finish my statement. We come out of the world never accomplishing anything. And the Most High doesn't judge that. He doesn't judge our failures. But we walk around here never accomplishing anything, but thinking that the level of work and effort that we bring to the table should produce results that are grandiose. Am I right or wrong? Not realizing, not accepting that if you've never accomplished anything in the world, then you're going to have to pattern your work ethic, your discipline, and how you process things to people who actually have. But that stings. That stings to the core. Because we think we can come into an arena with our poor experience or our experience of failures and think we can bring those same poor habits to the spiritual arena, and the Most High, because we just show up, we're supposed to get granted a blessing. That's careless, immature thinking. And then we sit back and tell ourselves, I'm showing up at 8 o'clock in the morning just like this person is. I've been a wife as long as this person has been a wife. How come I haven't gotten this, and this? Then we get angry. Then we get frustrated. Then we get disconnected. And then we start snowballing out of control. Instead of learning that, hey, maybe my effort isn't enough. Maybe I'm mistaken in telling myself that I've done enough to get a blessing. Maybe I haven't worked hard enough to gain my husband's trust. Maybe I haven't worked hard enough to gain the Most High's trust. Maybe I haven't done the right thing in the right enough spirit long enough to get blessed. Because a lot of us do good works, but in the wrong spirit. Right or wrong? A lot of us have done good works, but in a funky, disrespectful, hesitant mindset. But think, because I did it, it should be acknowledged and winked. We're just as disconnected as ever. But when we sit back here and look up and things don't turn out the way we want, we get angry, we get withdrawn, we get bitter, instead of saying, I need to learn to do more because my careless way of processing this isn't working. I have to improve in how I handle these things. That's the humble way. The proud way is this is messed up. I have done everything I can. I've tried enough. Brothers just don't care. They're just holding me back. Or my husband just don't love me. He just doesn't love me. I have come to the realization I've done everything I can. He just don't care. That's careless thinking because you have an erroneous or false judgment of how things are in your mind. Then it says we have wishful thinking because we tell ourselves we have a low bar that we set, but we have high expectations. We have low bar for our efforts with high expectation of the Most High reciprocating and rewarding it. That's the disconnect. That's how we're deceivable. Is what I'm saying making sense? This is very important to process this through the work routine that you do for the Lord every day. Whatever you do for the Lord, being a brother, being a wife, being a sister, are you being honest about your perception of yourself and the work you bring to the table? Are you really being honest? And are you talking to anybody else? Because Scripture says iron sharpens iron. Are you really talking to the person that you know is capable of giving you a right answer? How many of us, when we counsel, we choose counselors that have done less than us, that give less than us, that sacrifice less than us, that can't call us out on our crap? Because we want affirmations from quitters to tell us that giving less is acceptable. And that's the reality about mankind, womankind. Men lie, women lie, everybody lies. And that's the truth. So, we're going to go in a little bit more definitions. Self-deceiving in that same 1828 big book. Used in deceiving oneself, especially in justifying a false belief. We sit back here and justify our false way of thinking, and it says a morally reprehensible act. We'll sit back here, disregard. Now, nobody's doing anything morally reprehensible in here, hopefully not. But whenever we sin, what do? I had to sin. I had to do that. I had to make that run.
I had to steal, man.
I had to steal. I had to make that run. I had to do that. I had to sit back here and be disrespectful. He was pushing me too much. We sit back here and we lie and create false judgments to justify our negativity and the evil that we bring to the table. We do it all the time. All of these definitions tie in to a person that lacks accountability, that lacks the ability to say, you know what, I am where I'm supposed to be, and I'm going through what I'm going through because I earned it. I earned this lot in life. I earned this this circumstance. So now I have to learn to move and operate and do things the right way, the better way, so the Most High can continue to work with me. But I rarely get people even coming to us for counsel saying, what do I have to do more of to get blessed? We never get that. What do I have to change more in myself for the Most High to honor? We don't get those counsels. Why don't we get those counsels? Because men and women are liars. We're self-deceivers because we don't really want to hear what we have to do more. We'd rather say we're doing enough and we're the underdog and life is unfair and we're being screwed over. That's an easier field. That's an easier life choice. And that's where we're sick in the mind. That's where we're disconnected in the mind. We're the lie to ourselves, then come to grips that we don't do enough. Or we don't do enough in the right mindset. And there's only so many hours in the day. So it's not like you can work for more hours. But while you're working for the hours you're working, how do you think? How do you process things? How do you look at your life? How do you look at the people around you? That's how you're being judged and rated. So, with all that being the case, now to a little Ecclesiastes in the Apocrypha 25 and verse 2.
Ecclesiasticus chapter 25, verse 2. Three sorts of men my soul hated.
He says, the Most High hates these people. He hates. That's a strong word. Didn't the Most High say he hated Esau? Most High hates Esau, right? And what do we say? He's supposed to. He's supposed to hate Esau for the atrocities. For the atrocities of the black man and the Mexican, the Latino man in America. And we want to say that? We want to say that. So we're justified. The Lord's justified in hating Esau, right? Let's continue. So the Most High says these three people, the Most High hates also. On top of Esau. Read on. He doesn't put a tribe, he doesn't put a nation on these people he hates. Read on.
This is what he don't like.
He just don't like this archetype in mankind.
These are the particular species of human being. This is a certain type of human being archetype.
Yeah, he don't feel.
He don't like this.
I know. And the next line is even worse. It's one thing to hate them. Read them from the top. Zai.
Ecclesiasticus 25, verse 2.
Mm-hmm.
Three sorts of men my soul hated, and I am greatly offended at their life.
Most High hates their life. He says it's one thing to hate this archetype. He's offended at them breathing air, stealing air from the planet out here. He's like, these suckers are stealing natural resources out of it. Water, air. They're vexing. The fact that they're taking water and air, vexing. Smacking their lips on chicken, vexing.
And then life is also.
I'm just saying, he's offended at their life.
And life is also a manner of operation. Because it's how come everybody's like this? You just got to do it another way.
Yeah.
It's like I hate how this animal operates.
He's offended at their life, how they move, their whole archetype. We're not making this up, but we making this up? All right.
And I am greatly offended at their life. A poor man that is proud.
So he says a poor man that is delusional. A poor, because that's what the pride is. The pride is a poor man that is deceivable, that lies to himself. He's in a poor state. The Most High's got his thumb on him, and he still just can't follow.
Can't tell.
And he can't be told nothing. What are you doing? You're just sucking up air, right? And stealing water. He says, I'm vexed at people that are on the bottom and can't listen, don't follow, don't conform to my way of thinking. When I say mine, mean the Most High. Read on.
A poor man that is proud. A rich man that is a liar.
It's the same thing. He hates a poor man that's proud and lies, and he hates the rich man that's proud and lies.
Both.
It's both. He hates all mankind that got pride. That's the answer. Because pride and lying is the same thing. The prideful person is self-deceived. The liar is self-deceived. Because when a person on the bottom, they think they don't deserve to be in the bottom. The person on the top thinks he deserves to be at the top. And he's above everybody else. And is deceived by his own way of looking at things. They're both. The person on the bottom and the top is deceived. That's the point. He hates both people who have pride, who just don't make it a point to conform how they process things to how the Most High process things. Because the poor and the rich both are disconnected to the realities of the Lord. And these people that are disconnected, they are deceivable seed. Because the rich and the poor that are deceivable is what he hates and who he hates and who he is offended by. And he's like, if you're going to sit back here and live a lie, rich or poor, you vex me. I'm offended at your existence. That's how serious he takes it. Why is he so serious about the deceivable person? Because whether you're rich or poor, you'll never, ever get to a point where you'll get to know the Most High the right way. You'll always be disconnected. You'll always continue to distance yourself from the Heavenly Father's will. And with this pride, you can sit back here and not eat pork all you want. You can sit back here and follow the Sabbath all you want. If you got pride and you're disconnected and you're processing, you're still not going to please Him. I don't want to go into the adultery that dote. This is the adultery that doesn't change. The old adultery that dotes or is proud of his negative accomplishments. Was that
It also means to be delirious.
God?
Whether someone is having ideas that are wild, irregular, and unconnected.
And that's the point. So what is it saying? So what's the connection between the three type of people, the three archetypes? The poor man is proud, the rich man is a liar, and the old man that doted. They're all living in a delusion. They're all disconnected and they're delirious from reality. And why is he saying it like this? Because a lot of our people are disconnected from reality. But we wear fringes, we wear headbands, garments, and skirts. So you how but they're delusional in how they process things and wonder why the Most High lets them go their way and doesn't reward and acknowledge them the way they think they deserve to be. I hope we're listening, because this is the answer to a lot of our problems and a lot of the brick walls we keep hitting that we can't go through. This is not about mocking anybody or tearing anybody down or making somebody feel low just for the hell of it. It's not for that reason.
It's the root reason why things don't get fixed.
That's the point of it.
Because a lot of us are angry that conditions aren't changing for the better, that things aren't being fixed on my personal front, and that I'm not seeing change in my life, but I'm working so hard. That's the infuriating element is I'm working this hard.
Or you tell yourself you're working.
Well, look, in your mind, the person's saying,
You have this wishful thinking. You have this careless way of processing.
I'm working this hard, or you might be, or you might not be. But the way you're executing in the eyes of God is wrong, and I don't acknowledge that part. And you know you don't acknowledge that part because you never counsel about that part.
Yeah.
So if you don't acknowledge it and you don't counsel about it, it doesn't get solved. So what happens? You keep repeating the same cycle. I mean, the truth didn't work.
Yep. Then it's the truth's fault.
Yeah.
Now listen, we're going to go from there and go to Ecclesiasticus chapter 3 and 24.
Ecclesiastes 3 and 24. Great.
I'm ready.
For many are deceived by their own vain opinions.
Still telling you, there's many people that are deceived. Rich, poor, older. Many people are deceived by their negative, their negative ways of looking at it. Their unchecked philosophies about life that they continue to hold on to. And these opinions are vague because they're going nowhere. They lead to no profitable result.
Yeah.
Either there's many of us that operate like this. It is really an issue. And this issue is going to rear its ugly head when it's time to get to the kingdom. That's the scary thing. We talked about the honorable seed, dishonorable seed, and a deceivable seed. That's that lukewarm bunch. Because think about this. How can you truly please the Most High and serve the Most High if you haven't attacked how you look at things? You haven't put your imaginations into subjection. Isn't that what we talked about in 2 Corinthians 10? But you can't even be in readiness to avenge disobedience until your obedience is fulfilled. You can't even begin to teach and lead until you attack your delusion or the majority of your delusion. So do you think that we're one with the Lamb? If we think like us and we have these thoughts that haven't been attacked and challenged, we think we're going to make it to the kingdom. This is the scary thing about just saying all you got to do is follow the law. Because there's so many things that we gloss over, so many deficiencies that we gloss over. And we tell ourselves we're okay. Because I listen to class so many times a week, and I don't eat pork anymore, and I sit back here on the Sabbath and I keep it holy. And we tell ourselves that's enough. But there's so much more that has to get fixed that we just neglect. So let that verse go and go to Ezekiel chapter 14, verse 3 through 4. Ezekiel chapter 14, verse 3 and 4.
Ezekiel chapter 14 and verse 3 says, Son of man, these men have set up their idols in their heart.
He said, Israel sets up their idols in their heart. What is the heart? It's not the muscle that pumps blood throughout your body. The heart is the what? The mind. So he says, Israel sets up idols in their mind. Let's look up definition for idols in 1828, third definition. Idols or idol, third definition.
Idol, third definition. A person loved and honored to adoration.
A person loved or honored to adoration, to be adored. So he says, we sit back here and make ourselves that idol in our heart. Our opinion is number one in our heart. What we feel is number one in our heart. We adore how we look at things. Why do we adore? How do we adore how we look at things? Because we choose that delusion. It's just like when you say you fear the Lord, that means you prefer the Most High's way of doing things. If you prefer how you do things, you become your idol. Your will becomes your idol. Your take on things becomes your priority. And that's the beginning of your disconnect with the Heavenly Father. Read it again, verse 3.
Ezekiel chapter 14 and verse 3. Son of man, these men have set up their idols in their heart and put the stumbling block of their iniquity before their face.
But what is a stumbling block? Something that gets in the way of your goal. What it's saying is our pride, us choosing how we feel, us choosing our delusion gets in the way of us getting to know the Most High. It literally gets in the way. So it says our opinions become the stumbling block of our iniquity. The fact that we choose how we feel, choose how we've been trained in the world to process things, choose silence, choose not disclosing, not really being honest about our circumstances, and that ends up being the stumbling block that keeps us from growing. That ends up having us hiding away in the truth. We end up hiding away because our opinions getting away. How we look at things getting away. Our perceived pace that we think we're doing enough of and we can't do any more, that's a stumbling block. All these things, all these definitions about being self-deceived are stumbling blocks. When you tell yourself your wrong opinion of yourself and your effort, when you have the wrong idea of the potency of your effort, is that not a stumbling block? If you think you're giving 100%, or you tell yourself you're doing everything you can, but you're really giving 60%, you telling me that's not a stumbling block? Yeah. If you're a wife, you say, I'm doing everything I can as a wife, and my husband doesn't appreciate it. If you tell yourself that, wouldn't that get in the way of you really sitting back here and pleasing your husband? Yes, it would. If you sit back here and tell the Most High, I study all I can, I bust my tail to work, but you only study like once or twice a week, and it's for 30 minutes a pop. But you'll tell yourself, I'm doing everything I can. Isn't that lie the reason why you're not growing? Isn't that reason why you're not, isn't that the stumbling block that keeps you from getting the attention of the Father? It's the lie. It's the lie you tell yourself. It's the delusion you fuel. It's the stumbling block that gets in the way of you truly seeing the Most High come through for you. The fact that you don't share your vulnerabilities and don't let people know what's really going on with you, that's your stumbling block. That's why you're in the rut you're in and you're not going nowhere. And you'll be where you're at for another 10 years until you fix it. This is the scary, and I say scary, sad reality about our condition. We don't confess, we don't communicate. We diminish the effect of our negative attitude and our negative conduct to the body. That will get in the way of your blessing. We overhype and we over-embellish the works we give to the Father. That will be a stumbling block to you and the Most High. You over-embellish all the work you do for your husband. It ain't that good. It's okay. How about that? You're okay. But you'll tell yourself, I'm doing everything I can. And wonder what the disconnect is. The lie you tell yourself is why you can't grow. I'm not that bad. You're a devil. I'm not that bad. That statement is why you can't grow. That's the stumbling block. Read Ezekiel 14:3 again.
Ezekiel chapter 14 and verse 3 from the top. Son of man, these men have set up their idols in their heart and put the stumbling block of their iniquity before their face.
Before their face. The idol is whatever you adore. What we adore our opinion. We adore how we look at things. You ever met people that just want to be sad? You met people that just want to be angry? You ever met people that just want to see the worst in things? They're actually more at their best when they look at things in the worst way. Or you ever met people that they want to be sad and want to tell themselves nobody cares about them? Have you met people like that? The answer is yes. Have you ever met somebody that wants to feel that nobody cares about them? They feel better in that spot so they can be in their room sad and dejected. That's the stumbling block. What you are accustomed to, the feeling that brings you most comfort is why you can't grow. A lot of us want to have a villain in our life. We have to create a villain to feel like we're in a battle. And when there's no villain, you can't do nothing. Which means you do a lot of the good works you do out of the wrong spirit. Paul even talks about that. People sit back here sometimes and teach out of, what was that verse he said? It was in Philippians. He said sometimes people teach out, not debate, but they teach out of gosh darn it. It's important because people do good works for the wrong reasons. Huh?
This competition, but
No, it wasn't rebellion. No, it wasn't for their belly. They teach. It's out of the spirit of competition or debate. People teach. They do good works just to prove somebody wrong. I know a lot of street teachers like that. If I got to eat in my friend, I'm gonna go to work. But if there's Israel there, you can't muster up the energy. Or I can cut you on the street, but I can't sit you down and counsel you once you come to the truth. What they teach out of strife.
There you go.
What's the verse?
Yeah. Envy and strife.
What's the verse?
1 and 15.
What of what? Philippians?
Yeah.
Somebody get that real quick.
Philippians chapter 1 verse 15. It says, some indeed preach.
15 to 18.
18?
No, 15 to 18. 15 to
Okay,
18.
15 to 18. God. Philippians 1 and verse 15. Some indeed preach Christ, even of envy and strife.
That's my point. People teach Christ motivated by envy and strife. I know a lot of people that do that. But if I'm not If somebody doesn't piss them off, they can't teach. If somebody doesn't vex them, they can't teach. The material drops. The volume of teaching drops. There's people that teach when they're motivated and checked. When somebody makes them look bad. It lets you know people do good work for the wrong reason. But it's based on their distorted way of looking at it. Their negatively fueled perspective. And if you're teaching out of envy, or what was the other one?
It says envy and strife.
That means your effort
Is impure.
is impure and it needs to get worked on. But some people say, well, I'm doing the work of the Lord. You are. But just because you're doing the work of the Lord doesn't mean that the spirit behind what you're doing is right.
Yeah.
That needs to get fixed. But you have to own up to the fact that I'm teaching out of the spirit of strife and envy. But how many people are honest with themselves and say, I'm teaching motivated because I'm envious? And I gotta one up the person that I have envy of, or that I have a problem with. Who's honest enough to eat that? Not a lot of people. Sometimes people do the work in the spirit of competition, and not out of a pure competition. It's a negative
And
competition.
they only took the test because they don't want this guy to be over.
Perfect
That's
example.
a classic.
Classic. And then they'll sit back and tell you,
Where's my test at? They the test. They don't want that guy someone to do.
yeah, the boss them around.
The boss leaning.
Exactly. But that means they're studying for the wrong reason.
Yeah, you are
They take
studying.
the test for the wrong
You
reason.
did take the test.
Yeah.
But why?
Oh, men to lose their rank, they give less.
Oh yeah,
Well, you're supposed to give whether you got the rank or not.
because you're a Jew.
But then you're not supposed to sit back and not take your test because that means you're smart. It goes both ways. How about that? But what am I trying to say? That our motivations are impure, and those impure motivations are the stumbling blocks behind why the Most High has a problem with it. Whatever I remember that brother was like, there was a brother in the truth who failed the test like 2 times. Then he sat back here after he bombed his test. Like, yeah, man. He told another brother, I'll take the test. Man, you don't need to take the test. That test doesn't determine how, if you're in the spirit of God. Like, whoa, but you took him and failed him twice. So if you would have passed it, would you have said that? No. I know who you know it is. I know you know who it is.
That spirit told more than one person. Not just one person.
I know that. Well, whether it's one person or 15 people, I already know. But if he would have took it and passed it, would he have tripped? That if somebody else was taking it? No.
That's erroneous.
But it's erroneous because you're lying to yourself. The reality is you got to say the test is rigged or the test doesn't determine true intelligence. You say that because you failed. It's just like everybody said, oh yeah, that SAT is rigged. It's a rigged exam. Okay. Well, why are you saying that? If you would have scored a 1200, would you say that?
No.
You wouldn't say the test is rigged if you scored a 1200. But if you scored a 900, you would say it's rigged. It's rigged. If you scored a 700, this is rigged. Okay, it's rigged because you didn't do well. How about the hats? It's just ridiculous.
And this is how you know it's
People are on crazy pills.
But this is how you know it's
But they don't say it all the time.
This is how
It doesn't express true intelligence. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Those things kind of like, oh, wow.
But this is how you know it's cap. Because every excuse or statement or belief always benefits their flaw.
That's like people that sit back here and get kicked out of the Marines. Oh, the Marines was for suckers anyway. Like, damn,
Sucker,
really?
kid.
Or you didn't make the SEALs. Oh man, the SEALs, that's overrated. Then why'd you go practice? Why'd you go try out? Why'd you try out for the SEALs if it was overrated? Because you wanted to be a part of it. And then you sit back and you ring the bell because you're crying and you can't take the workout. Ding, 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 ding. Because when you quit, you got to ring the bell like a little broad and then run off. But then you ring the bell and everybody's out here in the freezing cold weather in push-up position sucking it up. And you cry and you tap out. When you're at home and you're at your apartment, then you want to talk crap about the guys who put it on the line every day. And I'm not a military guy, but quitting is quitting. And being strong is being strong, and it's no excuse. But everybody who washes out got to complain about the people that they washed out from. Am I right or wrong? It's a rigged setup. It's rigged, you dig? They got their favorites. They got their favorites. Everybody says they got their favorites when you weren't their favorite. When you weren't chosen. That's the erroneous lie. And they'll use that failure to justify why they have to continue to get on in life. But then they'll always pull that card when things don't go their way and wonder why they can't ever attain success. Because they keep using their failures to scapegoating themselves out of the situation and use other people how they were wrong to justify why they couldn't achieve what they were supposed to achieve. And you have to fix that if you want to get to your true capacity, even in serving the Most High. We don't live in truth. We always have a skewed version of why it didn't work out for me. And everybody is guilty of that in some form of fashion. This is what Moses said amongst the circumcision act. We're really good at that. We're really good at lying to ourselves. It's the truth. What's that? You got something? Yeah, I mean, it's a little early. Well, I'll stay on. Not 30. What the? Okay. So, let's go back to Ezekiel 14 and 3 and 4.
Now, Ezekiel chapter 14 and verse 3. Son of man, these men have set up their idols in their heart.
And we, listen, our own opinion is our idol in our mind. Read on.
And put the stumbling block of their iniquity before their face.
Listen, the stumbling block of our people is in how we look at things, is in our failed perception of whatever we're going through. That's why we keep failing. And because I know people who study every day and have negative outlook still. And they'll say, I study, I have negative thoughts still. Well, why? Because you're not using, that's my point. You're not using the scriptures to change how you're not choosing the spiritual way of looking at things. You're just reading words versus making those words yours, making that mentality yours that the scriptures give you.
Commend the approach.
And we'll go into it in many other weeks of class about going to the right counselors to help give you the strategies you need to clear your mind. But anyway, that's the point. Keep going. Keep going in Ezekiel.
All right. It says, should I be inquired at all by them?
Should I be inquired at all by them? What is it saying? Am I going to listen to these guys? You think I'm going to listen to these guys who their thinking and their way of thinking is the priority of their life? They're going to keep stumbling, and I'm not going to inquire about them. I'm not going to really care about those guys. Those guys vex me. We read it in Ecclesiastes 25. The people with the idols in their mind, they don't think like me. I'm vexed at their life. So I'm not going to even worry about it. Read on.
Verse 4. Therefore, speak unto them and say unto them, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, every man of the house of Israel that setteth up his idols in his heart and putteth the stumbling block of his iniquity before his face.
Listen, now this is important. He says everybody that has their own opinion as their priority, read on, and puts the stumbling block of his iniquity before his face, meaning we take on how we look at things. We have our own methods of dealing with things, and not the Most High, but this is an important part. Read on.
And coming to the process.
Stop. But that's the lukewarm person. That's the deceivable person. They have their own opinion, they go into their own negative mindset, and they still go to the prophet. That's the lukewarm person. Because the dishonorable person won't even listen. They'll do that and just not go to the damn schoolhouse. That's the dishonorable person. They'll just live their life, smile, make their money, and hustle, and live the life the way they want to. But the deceivable one will sit back and have their own negative perception of things and still go to the prophet to get answers. That's the one that hits. Because a lot of us are on our own program and still go to class. And then we'll take class and spin it in a way that fits our what? Our narrative. You know how many Israelites do that? We do it all the time. We'll take a class and spin it in our narrative and swear it's the Spirit. And we're deceivable. But he says, for the people who do that, read on.
It says, and put the stumbling block of his iniquity before his face, and cometh to the prophet, I the Lord will answer him that cometh according to the multitude of his idols.
So what does that mean? I'm going to answer you and judge you based on how you don't think like me. And I'm not going to judge you because based on your efforts to go to the prophets for answers. That's that lukewarm answer. Which says, if you're lukewarm, I'm going to spit you out. He says, for the person that's about his individual way of looking at things and he comes to the prophets, I'm going to judge you on the fact that you put your own outlook on a pedestal before me. And I'm not going to count the good you do. Wow. That's the scary thing. That's the scary thing that's waiting for all of us if we're not all in pursuing the Most High's outlook. Because we're all on the hook on this. Nobody escapes it. We're going to let that verse go. That should marinate for because that one hits. That one hits. Go to Galatians 6 and 3.
Galatians chapter 6 and verse 3. For if a man think himself to be something when he is nothing, he deceiveth himself.
And this is the situation. You deceive yourself when you think you're something, but you're not. When you have that disproportionate mindset of what your works should produce, how your conduct, what you should receive for your conduct, and you're disconnected and disillusioned, you're deceiving yourself. But in deceiving yourself, when you keep lying to yourself and you keep going to the prophets, you keep going to get taught, you keep going to get lessons, but you're disconnected, you're going to get judged on your disconnected mindset. So when you're not getting blessed, this is why you're not getting blessed. Because you keep stumbling on your own thoughts. You keep stumbling on your own skewed opinion. And he's not judging you based off the good works you do. Because that's what it means by going to the prophet. Going to the prophet means you're doing good works. But you're doing good works and you're delusional. And you see things the wrong way. And you prefer your way of looking at things over the Most High's counsel. So what it also means is you come to class, you get counsel, but you don't follow counsel. You follow your way.
I got a question that says the same exact thing. Same exact thing. Ezekiel 33:31. Ezekiel 33 and verse 31. The same exact thing.
Ezekiel chapter 33 and verse 31 reads, and they come unto thee as the people come.
They come to the Most High saying, I'm your people. Read.
And they sit before thee as my people.
You know what that means? They go to the temple. Yeah. What that means is every Sabbath they go to the temple and they talk God. They ask for counsel. They want clarity on something. They want a scriptural answer to whatever they're going through, while simultaneously processing that spiritual answer with their mind, with their carnal way of looking at it, putting themselves first. But getting the information, but they put their negative perspective as priority with the counsel. People.
Read.
And they sit before thee as my people. And they hear thy word, but they will not do it.
As my people mean they're Israelites.
Yeah. And they go through the process of people. There's a lot of people in the temple. Some people are listening to the word and receiving. And some people are just listening to the word, see how it can benefit their perspective, how it can add on to how they look at it. Because that's where the disconnect really comes from. We will get counsel to feed how we want to look at something. That's why when we go to counsel, you almost spin the narrative in a way to guarantee an answer to go your direction.
Try to.
You attempt. You try to tell the story a certain sideways way, and you expect us to eat the cheese going that direction with the counsel. And then when we don't go that way, then all of a sudden you pick and choose from counsel what you want to hear and what you don't want to hear. It happens all the time. It happens all the time. So we operate like we're the Most High people. When it comes to listening to counsel, having a clear mind, and receiving the information in the right lens, we don't do it. So
say it, read.
And they hear thy words, but they will not do them.
They hear the counsel, because the Most High's words are counsel. But they will not what?
Do them.
They will not do or perform and execute the counsel. Read.
For with their mouth they show much love.
With their mouth they say, I want counsel. With their mouth they say, I want to be at the temple. With their mouth they say they want a better situation. With their mouth they say they want to accomplish a spiritual goal. But what is the point of emphasis? Right here. Read.
But their heart goeth after their covetousness.
Their what?
Their hearts goeth after their covetousness.
Their covetousness is what? Their opinion.
yep, whatever their idol is.
You covet the way you want to see it. That's your covetousness. You have to have it. Covet means you got to have something. You got to, I'm coveting this. I want this. Whatever's in their mind, that's what they want, and not the counsel of the Lord.
Yeah.
That was it.
So true, man. So we got Galatians 6 and 3 out the way, right? Now let's go to Psalms 107 and verse 11.
Psalms 107, verse 11.
Yes, sir.
So
Listen, y'all, I know maybe, I don't know what y'all think in class here, but maybe online, y'all might think the topic is redundant, but it's really not. And I think this topic needs more redundancy. We need this topic to be pushed more than it has so that we can begin to do good works and see better results from it. Because a lot of us, y'all, a lot of us do this work. A lot of us work hard, but don't always receive the blessings that they expect. And the reason we're going in topics like this is to learn how to work hard enough to get the Most High's attention. How many of us have sat back here and gone to the gym and work out like a wild banshee, but you don't see any changes in anybody? Is the problem working out? Some people do, not you. You're getting them in. I respect you. You're getting the games in, and there's the results. And it's there.
He took correction.
But I believe that. But a lot of us will work and sweat and not see the results. But we won't do or make the necessary tweaks in how we look at things to get the results from it. So we're just burning energy and sweating and not getting anything out of it. A lot of us do that sometimes in the gym, but more of us do it in the spiritual realm. Am I right or wrong? We'll sit back and work and try to be humble and try to be on point and do these things and just keep hitting brick walls. So if we can get one or two people to be conscious of the adjustments and be conscious of the honesty needed to eliminate this stumbling block out of your life, then it's worth it. We can sit back here and teach uplifting classes and angles that make you feel good and walk out the building and smile. But I'd rather sit back here and cut somebody and hit somebody a certain way, and they take it and learn godly sorrow and figure out a way to be more intense and serious about the change that they need to make. That's the goal. That's the prayer when we're dropping a class like this, because I know these type of topics can sting and can attack the very core of somebody. But that's what got to get attacked.
And I shouldn't want to defend deceit in myself anyway. Why would you want to defend self-deceit? Why is that the defense? Why is that the one you got to defend? And of all the things we can defend,
Yeah.
why do I want to defend the one thing that keep me out of the kingdom?
Yeah.
Doesn't make any sense. Oh, no, you're hurting me. I don't want to go to the kingdom, bro. Why you hit this point?
God.
I have no intentions of going to see Christ face to face.
God. But you know, the problem is, what does Isaiah say? Isaiah 30 says,
Yeah.
we want to be lied to.
Yeah.
Read that real quick.
Cause
We'll
the
get
Holy
back
One
to
of
this.
Israel to
Cease. Listen, Isaiah 30, and I think it's 8.
Verse 10.
It's 10. Okay, cool. I think it starts with 8. It says, well, just write it down. Just write it down, and then it goes into the specifics.
Right. Isaiah 30,
In verse 8.
verse 8.
Yeah, it's 330, verse 8 through 10.
Isaiah chapter 30, verse 8. Now go, write it before them in a table, and note it in a book.
Why is it important to put this in a book?
I keep
He said, you got to
forgetting
put this in a damn book. Listen, and this is at a time when the Jews didn't put things in books. How about that? Remember? We're in Isaiah. This is before, remember Josiah wakes up one day and wants to know what's happening in the temple?
Yeah.
You know, we have all these books called the Bible. You want to read them? Remember that? So this is before that happened. So we didn't make it a habit of writing things on paper, especially the common people. Common folks didn't write a lot of things on paper. All we had was 10 Commandments. That's it. We barely had that. So he said, for some people who don't write things on paper, you need to write this down. Read on.
That it may be for the time to come, forever and ever.
So people don't ever forget this reality. Why is it important to write this down? Because you would hope you can give this information to your teenage son or daughter. You hope you give it to a 20, 25-year-old young man so they don't what? Waste decades of their life lying to themselves, being the victim, playing the sad story, living in a lie and a delusion. This is why it's so important for us to put this on paper and not forget it, because Israel is the kings and queens of lies. Now, if you want to say kings and queens, we're kings and queens of lies. I'll give you that. It's the truth. Continue.
Verse 9. That this is a rebellious people.
We're rebellious, but how do we choose our rebellion? What is our preferred rebellious technique that we use? It's a passive aggressive one. We use a passive aggressive approach to rebelling against the Most High. And how do we passively, aggressively rebel against the Father? Read on.
Lying children.
We lie. We'll spin the narrative. We'll paint the picture like we're being done wrong. We'll paint the picture that nobody understands me. We'll paint the picture that nobody cares. Nobody loves me. All these narratives so that I don't have to face me. I mean, our counsel will, brother, how can you do this? I don't have time. What do you mean you don't have time? When you were sleeping and burning time, weren't you misappropriating time? Yeah, but I don't have time. People will sit back here and use time, a lack of it, or a perceived lack of time, to not study. But if you sit back here, when you start to break down their entire day, you know what you realize? What they meant to say, or they didn't want to say, is that I don't have time to do the work of the Most High, live my life the way I want to, and then study. That's the answer. I don't have time to watch my shows, catch up on doom scrolling.
Yeah.
Sit back here and take an unnecessary nap, study, and then do my work every day. But that's an aspect of lying. We lie to justify not studying. We lie to justify our poor conduct at the zones we are responsible for. We lie to justify why we're always late to things. We lie to justify why we are disrespectful to our husband. We lie to justify our poor efforts and our inconsistent priorities in dealing with our husband. We lie just by our inconsistencies in the work we do for the Father. We're liars. And that is how we rebel. So it's a passive-aggressive way of being disrespectful. I'll just say I forgot. Or I didn't hear you. Versus saying what I really want to say. I just didn't want to do it. A lot of times you gotta pick. It's like pulling teeth, getting people to be honest about why they were negative, why they were malicious, why they were out the spirit. And then they'll say, well, I don't say anything because I always feel like I'm being judged if I say something. Well, that's what you need, is to be judged. Somebody has to tell you that your thoughts are wrong. Right or wrong. I don't want to be judged. Well, then you don't want the Most High. You don't want God then. Because if the Most High was down here and Christ was looking you in the face, would you say that? Oh, well, Yahweh, I just want you to judge. Would you say that? Probably so. Because you just don't want to check. But we passive-aggressively just lie about our situation. We lie about why we rebel, why we don't follow orders, why we don't stick to dress code, why we don't do the things we know we're supposed to do. I didn't have time to wash my clothes. Yeah, you did. You just didn't want to do it. You see the lie? You see the lie? I didn't have time to wash my clothes. What are you talking about? When there's a washing machine in your house, how do you not have time to wash your clothes if it's in your house? Even if it's not, if you have day off, why wasn't it done then? There's always a way if you want to do it. Or you can choose lying to yourself to justify why you don't want to fight your battle. Just say that you just didn't want to do it. Nobody wants to say that. I just was lazy today. I wanted some me time. I was just selfish. We're not honest. We want to keep it real about what people do. We want to keep it real about how people make them feel. But nobody wants to be real about how wicked they are and how defiant they are. So that's how we're passive aggressive. We lie to cover our rebellion. Read on.
That this is a rebellious people, lying children, children that would not hear the law of the Lord.
So instead of hearing the law of the Lord, now I have excuses. Now I create a narrative. Now I create a victim narrative. Now I sit back here and I say, because I've lost so many things in my life, I don't want to serve the Most High. Because I've gone through so much. Why? I don't trust. That's the back. That's the one in the back. I don't trust. But you don't trust, but you'll eat the people that you don't trust food. You'll sit back and work with people that you don't trust. So is it that you don't trust? Or you just want to come out of your negative? You'll have sex with the person you don't trust.
I don't trust it.
Well, then why are you opening your legs for them? These are things that make you say, is it really a lack of trust? Or you just want to change? You see how we lie? We lie all the time to justify our sin and our negative. Continue.
Verse 10, would say to the seers, see not.
You know how you say to the prophet, don't prophesy on me? What's the best way to say, don't teach me I'm wrong? Don't say I'm wrong. What's the most effective way to tell the teacher, don't check? Say nothing.
Say nothing. Be quiet.
Just sit back and say shalom and go about your business. That's how you say, don't help me. Just don't go to counsel. Just don't reveal anything in counsel. Say nothing. That's how we say, seers don't see nothing. Teachers don't teach me nothing. So I will figure it out. I've known men been at you 15 years, had yet to be honest about how wicked they were, how negative they were, and they're no longer hearing them. But literally 10 to 15 years of just telling me fugazi reports about how on point they were. And how they were trying and doing this. I was trying, I was spitting to, and I was trying, I was spitting to, and I was trying. But never just said, man, this is how I think about it. And, or they'll say something negative, but don't want your retort. That was another one. If you're going to confess what's in your head, allow somebody to show you a better way to look at it.
You waste people's ears.
So what you want to do, you want to rage on somebody and vent, but not get the answer. It happens in marriage all the time. That's why I say, okay, then if you want me to hear how much of a dirtbag I am, I'll just listen. I'll hear that, or we can talk about solutions. Which one do we want to do? I'm not knocking nobody, but the point is this: let's clarify what this is. If this is a vent session, then let it be a vent session. If this is a vent session with the goal of solving it, cool. Sometimes people need to get it out, but let's clear it up. Let's identify what this is. If we can identify what it is, there'll be less stress in the back. But the same method that's done with the wives should be done with men. Are we really dealing with the reality of things? Or you just want to yell and cuss and complain? Or do you want to actually fix it? A lot of us want to vent and complain about their wife, but don't want to fix it. All I hear about is how wicked the woman is. But when it talks about how you got to be a better example and lead from the front, then everybody's quiet. What is it? God. Now the brothers were sitting back here more. Wicked. Then when it's like, well, okay, well, this is what you got to do. You got to outwork them in this and this and this and this and this. I thought you want the answer. No, you want me to say she was wicked and how dare her be wicked versus actually putting the work into to
Restore issue.
fix the issues. No, I want to hear you tell me I'm right and she's wrong. Versus saying, okay, I know that this person has a problem, but what are you doing to help fix it? What can you be better in to help motivate and inspire this person to actually be a better person? That's the real work. But nobody wants to hear that. Nobody wants to be honest about what it takes to fix something. They want to present how awful a person is or how awful the situation is, and don't tell me the answer. Or I won't just say anything. And I'm just walking around saying calm and shalom my whole life, never getting anything fixed.
Nothing got better.
They're both passive-aggressive ways to not grow and also to piss the Most High off and distance yourself from the Most High. Because why are we going to class in the first place? So we can come back to the teachers and start talking about issues to get game plans on how to fix what's in your life so you can actually see the Lord come through. What's the most brothers do? A dap and a hug and they go home. And nothing gets fixed. Nothing gets worked on. So the lying ends up being your stumbling block. And you don't get to see the benefits of change and sacrifice. Continue. So it says, which say to the seers, see not, read on.
And to the prophets, prophesy not unto us right things.
So if I don't want you to tell me right things, I won't say anything. Or I want to bribe you so you can tell me the things I want to hear. There's been teachers and leaders over the years that will sit back and just tell you what you want to hear. And they were loved for that. But the people lost decades of their life following the lie, following the fantasy, following the easy path to perceive spirituality, but not getting anything done. Because people like the fact that somebody else acknowledges that their 40% of effort is good enough. Some people like that. I would rather somebody tell me I'm doing enough, even though God doesn't bless me for not doing enough. As long as I got confirmation from my elder that I'm doing enough, well, I can live with not getting blessed in my life. That's how sick a lot of us are. If you get confirmation from your husband that you're doing enough, then whether you're doing enough or not, doesn't matter. Somebody told me I'm doing enough. That's sickness. Or you sit back here and you spin a narrative and you catch a sucker counselor to tell you you're doing right. And you walk off because you bamboozled and controlled and narrate the counsel to get somebody to see it your way. Who really won in that situation? Nobody won. Satan won.
Like what?
But you tell yourself, because I got the confirmation from my elder, I can sit back here and keep living this sideways way, and then I'm crying to the Lord with devil's tears, not understanding why the Lord don't bless me. We do this all the time. All the time. This isn't like some once in a moment. No, this happens frequently. We frequently don't go to the people that can actually help us. We go to the people that will tell us a smooth thing. The answer, you're doing a great job, sir. Keep it up. You're doing a great job, sis. Just keep doing what you're doing. We want to hear that. Verse said, hey, there's more you can do. You can do this. You can do that. You can look at things this way. Nobody, no. A lot of us, the deceivable ones, don't want to hear that. Okay. Are you done with verse 10? No, you're not. Yes.
Prophesy not unto us right things. Speak unto us smooth things. Prophesy deceits.
Got it. Might as well read verse 11.
Definition for smooth.
Give me smooth.
Verse number 2. To free from obstruction. To make easy.
That's the point. We want the easy path to where we want to go. That's our nature. Listen, we hear it all the time. You got to work smarter, not harder. Sometimes you got to work harder, not smarter. How about that? A lot of times you got to work harder, not smarter. Because that smarter, not harder stuff will teach you how to cut corners in all things in life. And you'll start working smarter, not harder when it comes to study, when it comes to organizing your house, when it comes to counseling. You'll start playing the easy game. So you almost have to buy into the working harder, not smarter, because you need to know what that looks like and what that feels like and take that into every part of your life. Because that's how you get the Most High's attention. The easy way, the comfortable way, is how you start losing time. You might have got to the place earlier, but you lost the lesson. You never gained the lesson. So what did you make? That means you actually lost the battle. What are you going to say?
Number 4. To palliate.
Okay.
To soften.
Kind of. We want to soften the blow. We want to soften the check. We want to soften. We want to make it more palatable to the taste.
So, but these
We want to taste better. We want you to feel better.
These are the people that want to control how you talk to them. They want to control how you describe their actions. They get extremely sensitive and offended when you clearly paint the picture, or you do it bluntly, or you do it a certain way that's direct. They hate direct communication.
Because what we'll say is, you're making me feel bad. You make me feel bad. What does that mean? You're not making the lesson palatable.
You're killing my spirit.
Well, you're tearing down my spirit. That's the one that's
the palatable spirit.
Yes.
You want things to be palatable,
Yeah.
Because you know what? If it's comfortable, you don't have to change. That's the idea behind it. If your wording is comfortable to me, then I don't have to make. The Bible says, let sin be exceedingly sinful. What does it mean to make? You have to inflate, and you have to hyper magnify and take a big lens and go to the finest detail to make somebody hate what they're doing. Just like a dog. If a dog is crapping in the house and you don't put his nose to, you just show, hey dog, you took a shit. Well, this, I know I did. Oh, is it palatable to you? It's fine with me. Then the house never gets clean. And if the habit never is broken. What does a good master do to train the dog to stop crapping in the house? They get the dog's nose. Dogs have extremely sensitive what? Noses. Their nose can smell and find detail. You put the dog's nose to the crap so he can smell every detail of that grotesque smell that he doesn't want to smell. And you know what he says next time? I'll just do that. Every time I do it over here, this area, I have to smell it. I gotta smell my own filth. Let me do my filth in the corner of the yard, so my master doesn't punish me and make me smell and confront my filth.
Yeah.
So the same principle applies with Israelites, because we are the Most High's creation. He creates scriptures, classes, and councils, and certain types of men with certain temperaments. Because there's some men there, they got the cool temperament, and they counsel that way, and they're effective at that. There's some people that they have a different kind of temperament. And I don't like being on this person's temperament because it makes you feel bad, but you need to feel bad to stop the negative reaction or behavior.
But how about your negative fuels that reaction?
Yeah.
How about your negative fuels a stronger reaction? You got to accept that.
Nobody wants to say it.
Nobody wants to say that. Because the truth is, people react to you based on how you treat them and how you move around them. What that means, what does that mean? That means I can't focus on how people react to me. I got to focus on how I treat people.
Who wants to do it?
Then that changes the whole zone.
I'm not
Then I
thinking
can't
it.
be about me anymore. Now it's not about me anymore. It's about how I got to fix me. About how versus how people are so messed up to me. And this is why I'm the lone wolf. You're not the lone wolf because people are bad people. You're the lone wolf because you run everybody off. Because you're a wild beast.
Yes. So I know.
What's that?
It said to flatter with blandishment, which means to win the heart.
Blandishment?
Yeah, meaning speak to me in a way so I know that you're trying to win me.
Yeah.
And you feel good about me.
That's
I
a
mean, you're trying to
politician.
win my faith.
That's the politician. That's Trump when he's saying, listen, we're going to have no more this, no more that. And then everything he said to do, it never came to pass. That's the history of all politicians. They're mastering that particular skill. When it's time for 4 years to get elected, or every 2 years to get back in the seat, tell people what they want to hear.
No new taxes.
And then
You look up in year 2.
the mayor of
Guess
Chicago
what?
did that. The mayor of Chicago said, I am not going to raise no taxes. As soon as he got in office, raise them taxes up. High housing taxes. People went crazy. Why? You ran a whole program and campaign on not raising taxes for housing.
What did they say? It happened.
It happened. But that's that definition you're saying. People want to be one with certain sauces in the
You
word.
know what that means? They want to be bribed. Call it what it is. People want to be bribed and told that,
That's gay.
yeah, listen, this is a joke, but it was in this movie. I'm not doing it. I'm not going to do it. I'm not doing it. What I'm going to do is just say, we want to be told that our effort is good enough. How we think and process is good enough. How the level of dedication we give to the Most High, to our husband and to our wives and our family is good enough. We want to be told that we study enough. We got to be told that we just keep doing what we're doing. We're going to get there. No, that's not true. That's the worst thing you can tell somebody. Just keep doing what you're doing. It's going to work out. No. Fix this, this, and this, and you have a chance for it to work out. But that sting, the pain that comes from being told what you're doing isn't good enough, crushes people. It crushes their confidence and their self-esteem. But how about that's what has to be broken if you're going to actually grow? You know what that? Let's go to Psalms 107 and 11.
Psalms 107:11.
Read that.
Because they rebelled against the words of the Most High and contemned the counsel of the Most High.
Listen, we contemn, meaning we are ashamed of how the Most High thinks. We don't like how the Most High thinks. We think how the Most High thinks is overboard.
Not fair.
We think it's overboard, undoable, unapproachable. This is why Christ's life, Christ had to live and be perfect, and Paul had to come out of a Pharisaic mindset, switch and follow Christ, and be perfect in Christ on both ends. He was perfect as a Pharisee, then he became perfect in Christ. These people had to be living examples and proof that it could be done, because we lie to ourselves and say, this can't be done. This life is too hard. That's another lie we choose. This is too extreme. This is too hard to do. Nobody can do this. This is the lie. We contemn or we are ashamed of the Most High's counsel. All that means, the Most High's counsel, is the Most High saying, is that what he's saying? The Most High's counsel is how these words are, how he thinks. He teaches us how he thinks through this word. And we have to take how he thinks and implement how he thinks in our everyday life. But we hate how the Most High thinks and how he processes things and how he teaches us how to think. We hate that. But we want to hate how the Most High thinks and then follow his laws and get a reward. And wear his clothes that we think we wore. We may or may not have worn it like this. We want to wear the clothes we think he wore and follow the laws, but not learn how he thinks. And that's a mistake. Go to Proverbs 13. and 5.
Proverbs chapter 13 and verse 5. A righteous man hateth lying.
Listen, a righteous man hates to lie, which means what? Is it about just a righteous man who doesn't like to tell lies to people? Or a righteous man hates lying to himself or herself? If we are really going to shoot to get close to the Heavenly Father, we have to hate the notion of lying to ourselves and living in a lie, operating oblivious to being accountable to the Heavenly Father. That is one of the keys of what it takes to get restored to the Heavenly Father. You have to lie. You have to hate the lies you tell yourself to justify your existence. We lie to justify our acts and our conduct, and you have to learn to hate those lies if you ever want to grow and please the Most High. That makes sense. Read that from the top.
Proverbs chapter 13 and verse 5. A righteous man hateth lying.
A righteous man hates lying. You hate lying to yourself. Continue.
But a wicked man is loathsome.
A wicked man is loathsome because he or she continues to lie to themselves. They continue to walk around here in this delusion, thinking that how they look at things is the right way to do. Read on.
It says, and cometh to shame.
And the Most High will bring that wicked thinker to shame. Now, what I want to do is, I don't want to go through a bunch more verses. I want to go to this one, though. Maybe one or two more. Let's go to Ecclesiastes, in the Apocrypha, 26 and 24.
Ecclesiasticus 26 and 24.
Now, listen. This is talking about a woman. But if we're going to be honest, women and men have turned effeminate over these years, over time. Okay? The scripture where it says women have excelled men. And it was a future prophecy that women were going to excel men because of our weakness and our softness and how effeminate we've become. So when you read this verse, it's not just about women. This is about men also. So read 24 again.
Ecclesiastes 26 and 24. A dishonest woman contemneth shame.
A dishonest woman contemneth shame.
No.
What is contemning? What is contemning? Hates, despises. A lying woman and a lying man hates to look back. A lying woman or lying man hates to look back, and this is why they can't grow. This is why men can't take checks, because they hate the feeling of not being good enough. Women too. They hate the feeling of not being enough. So they lie. They keep lying to themselves, and they run from correction because correction represents that they're not good enough. But that's not just a woman's issue. Men hate the check. That's why they don't say nothing. They would rather lie than sit back here and own up to what they're deficient at or what they're just not plain good enough. Because people don't want to own up to their failures and their sickness and how behind they are, they'll just keep lying to themselves and tell themselves that they're not, people don't understand. People are just being cruel. People are just being mean and have all these reasons not to accept the proper evaluation of what you are and what you're not. Right, yes, I'm saying.
I was going to say too, I like what you're saying because in the beginning we was talking about pride. This is also another form of pride, is when you don't want to see yourself.
Yep.
And most importantly,
And because you don't want to see yourself, you have to lie.
yeah, and that's that pride, because we hate to look bad. So we rather create the smoke bomb, like I was saying earlier, to not get the check, not get corrected.
Because I don't want to feel low. The shame meaning being brought low. The liar doesn't want to get brought low, so they're never going to confess it.
Yeah.
Are they going to ever own up to what they're not good enough in? No, because they don't want to feel bad. People live their entire life running from being shown what they're not good at. And when you live your whole life running from being shown where you're deficient at, that becomes your stumbling block. That separates you from the Lord. Listen, it doesn't get much clearer than this. I don't know. There's a lot more verse to go into, but I don't know how much more to explain it. This is where an aspect of the pride. A lot of us just hate seeing the worst of ourselves.
Well, the scripture says, pride shall bring a man low.
Yes.
We always look at that scripture, you're going to get what you deserve. Ha.
Yeah.
Right? Or you're going to false position, or you're going to take a loss, take an L. We never look at low means that condition that never changes.
The deficiencies in you that you've never fixed is what's going to keep you low.
See, people don't put that together though. Pride will bring a man low because he'll never do what it takes to fix the position or fix the element within himself.
There was a brother that was in this truth many years ago. Many years ago. He was illiterate and never told me about it. And it was like, how was this person ever going to excel in this realm if you didn't know how to read? Or if your reading was limited? Did you not think that it was important to let that be known so people can help you? Or maybe take you to a night school that could help work on your illiteracy? Because there was a lot of programs out there that we could have took him to help him. But he didn't want to feel bad. He didn't want to be ashamed of the fact that he was illiterate. So he just never went to night school to get what he needed to not be illiterate. A lot of us walk through life with all these deficiencies, but we're so afraid of looking like I'm far behind. I'm not good enough. I'm not smart. We end up losing years because we don't want to look bad.
And that will bring a man low.
Because people hate looking bad or maybe perceiving that they're the butt of the jokes. People look down or don't respect them because they showed their deficiency. And that's pride. Now you can call it insecurity because that's a modern term for what we're talking about. But it's pride. And it's you're a liar. That's the spiritual term. Insecurity sounds better on paper. But scripturally, you're a liar. And you are deceivable because you're not willing to face up to what you are truly struggling in so that you can stop being brought low. What it's showing is the Most High has us all in positions that if we don't fix it, we'll be diminished in a diminished state. None of us are on this earth without those issues that got to get fixed.
This is the condition of man that man must fight.
And you got to fight those deficiencies that keep you low or you'll never grow. But you can't fight it if you don't confess it. You can't fight it if you're running from people seeing it. I've had children, my own, run from looking at how bad they are on things. And it kept them slowed down in their advancement for many years. I see brothers to this day afraid of looking bad for their weakness. And they'll mask it like, people are gonna judge me. They're not gonna understand. I don't trust. All of that's cap. I hate how I look at myself. But don't hate myself enough to allow people to help me fix it. So you hate what's inside of you, but you don't hate your condition that. Because if you really hated how behind you are, you'd ask for help. So that means you're okay with it. So don't complain that your life is broken down and you're running in place for a decade. Don't complain about that because you chose to run in place for a decade instead of asking for help and getting worked on. That's what makes this scary. That's why this is not about pointing fingers and shaming and clowning. And this is not about that. It's about, listen, don't you want your life in the truth to have greater meaning? Don't you want your walk in Christ to actually matter? Do you want to continue to live your life in Christ and say, man, I did this truth thing, but I didn't see anything out of it? Nothing really came out of it. I didn't really grow. I didn't really see the power of the Most High. So many of us will go through these doors, they'll come in and they'll come out, and they would have never really seen the point of it. And that's the sadness of it. Christ is great. Christ is powerful. And there's so much happiness that can come from serving the Most High if you are open and transparent and you stop lying to yourself about what you're not good at. The funny thing is this. You don't read that verse a lot in the scriptures because the expectation is that men shouldn't be afraid of being corrected. That's why he says a dishonest woman contemns shame. Because the reality is women run from the check. Back in those days, a woman was more susceptible to not being honest than a man. A man was supposed to be committed according to his wisdom. So men were supposed to operate with more honesty back then. But nowadays, men run from a check even more than women. Men operate with more insecurities than the women do, in the truth. I've seen women be more honest about their flaws than men are. Right. That's a fact. Women are more honest about their deficiencies than men operate in the truth. Men won't tell you nothing about their problem. But the scripture was meant to say a dishonest woman hates looking bad. But dishonest men hate looking bad too. We run from looking bad. That's why we don't grow. The fact you don't want to look bad is why you keep stumbling in place and you can't get past this obstacle. You ever seen those military obstacle drills? The chunky guy can't get over the wall. The wall. He's jumping. He can jump like 1 inch out. He's like this, and his belly's just moving around. He's sweating out. His armpits are full of water. Out. He's like, what? Like, bro, and he can't pull himself up. He can't climb up, and he just stops. Then he wants to run around. You get your butt around here and climb that thing. Then he's sitting back. He's there all day long, bro. Can't do it. But that picture and image is also an image of your pride. An image of you not wanting to look bad and not getting over the fact that you got to look bad in order for you to grow. It's the same picture being painted. If you really want to grow, this is what it takes to grow. Or you can keep lying to yourself and everybody else is who's holding you back. But the truth is you're holding you back. Your lack of honesty and lack of transparency to others about your situation is why you're where you're at in your life. In Christ. Yes, Christ.
I remember you pulled up a verse in Wisdom of Solomon 17:11 about that fear. And how when people hold on to that fear, that's still wicked.
But it's the fear. But this one, the fear is the fear of looking back.
Yeah.
The fear of the check. The fear of being shamed.
Yeah.
The fear that people are going to hear this information about you and look at you different. That's what it is. But if you're so consumed with how people view you, you'll never grow. Because the truth is, people will stop looking at you messed up when you confess your issues and you actually change. Then what can they say? You can say what you want, but they're not the same person they were a year ago. Speaking, talk how you want. That person has gotten closer to Christ while you're still running in place, wasting time. Okay, read that verse 24 again.
Ecclesiasticus 26 and 24. A dishonest woman contemneth shame, but an honest woman will reverence her husband.
What does an honest woman, what is she really reverencing when she's reverencing her husband? She reverences the correction. She reverences the shaming. That's what an honest woman does. When her husband says, this is what you really are, she reverences that. The dishonest woman can't get past the fact that he's making her look bad. And that he's not looking at all the good things he does. Or she does. That's the dishonest person. The dishonest person wants to be glazed. Daughter always says that way.
Yeah.
Listen, the dishonest woman wants to be glazed all the time and told all the good things that he do. The honest woman references her husband's correction and guidance and really appreciates it because she knows she needs that direction if she's going to grow. But that is the same dynamic with the Most High's woman. But this honest brother hates the fact that Most High wants him to check, wants to see the worst in him. The honest brother references the correction of his elder and the Most High. That's how you know what kind of man you are in the eyes of the Most High. Are you an honest brother and sister, or you're a dishonest person or sister? And that's all predicated on how you receive correction and how willingly you are to open up the flaws that are inside you to be corrected.
With that point, there's brothers that will do the work, grind, sacrifice, put on line, and suffer.
And but
Everything
do all
but.
that grind
Everything
with a
but.
dirty outlook, not being honest about what's inside of them, and wonder why the Most High doesn't honor their physical work. But they're working and doing the work of the Lord, but they're dishonest at the same time. There's dishonest women that way. Will cook and clean and run a house, but be dishonest in their outlook because they don't want to accept their husband's guidance and correction. They don't want to look bad. I want to do the work of the Most High, but I don't want to look bad. Men want to do the work of the Most High, but not look bad, not be brought low, and think that is acceptable doctrine or acceptable in the eyes of the Father. It's not. From there, go to Proverbs 11:2.
Proverbs 11:2. When pride cometh, then cometh shame.
Listen, when pride cometh, when you want to choose your negative outlook, the shame comes directly behind it. Now, there's different types of shame. There's shame from being corrected and initially looking bad for looking at things the wrong way. And there's also a shame when your life never grows, when you're in the same spot for years. There's an embarrassment with that too. So once again, what type of shame do you want? Because the proud person doesn't want the shame up front. The proud person doesn't want the shame, the initial shame of being checked for how they look at you. But when you run from the check of looking bad up front, you end up being shamed in the back end. You end up being shamed with having a stagnant life. You'll end up being that guy or gal that's the same person that they've been 5 to 10 years with the same patch number, with the same scenario, with the same attitude, with the same negative outlook. That's where a lot of people, that's where the shame ends up happening. You run from the check, you run from the humbling process, your end result is you're going to be stagnant or diminished. What you going to say?
Ecclesiastes 4:21.
Just say, what does it say?
For there is a shame that brings.
No, that's part of class.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, that's part of class. That's later on in class. That's next week's class. No, you're good. Wait. I know I have that. Yes, it's a few verses done. Yes. I don't know if we'll have time. No, you're good. I just want to see it. I heard it. When you said it, I said, yeah, but that's late. So read that again in Proverbs 11:2.
Proverbs 11:2. When pride cometh, then cometh shame.
Mm-hmm.
But with the lowly is wisdom.
So all we're saying is that your pride comes because you don't want to look bad, right? That's what we read earlier in Ecclesiastes 26. You don't want to be shamed. The proud person hates shame. The proud person hates to look bad. So you run from the check and the confession that makes you look bad up front. So as you're running, you end up being shamed on the back end because your life doesn't change. You keep being in the same ruts in your life. You still being the same person year in and year out. So there's shame there too. So you're still going to experience shame.
It hurts.
Whether you, and it hurts to sit back
hurts,
here
it hurts.
and be in year after year after year and not get ranked up.
It hurts more because
Year in year after year of being in the same negative mental position. That hates. That hurts. So you're gonna hurt on the back end, or you're gonna be humble enough to take correction in the front and deal with the correction and actually grow and find happiness down the line. So which shame do you want? The shame of the check or the shame of the failed life? Or the wasted time in your life? That's a real thing. So if you don't want to keep losing and spinning your wheels in life, it might be advantageous to look bad in the front end so you can grow.
you want to argue. I believe it.
People want to argue
Everyone wants to argue versus
and justify their negative outcome.
it's unhelpful. It's not beneficial.
And they'll be shamed and stagnant on the back. From there, go to Ecclesiastes 4:26 in the Apocrypha.
Ecclesiastes chapter 4 and verse 26.
Let me get there real quick. Let me type it in. Read that.
Ecclesiastes chapter 4 and verse 26. Be not ashamed to confess thy
The
sins.
solution to not facing shame on the back end is to confess your sin on the front end. But when you confess your sin on the front end, there is shame there too. You're going to feel the pain of shame one way or the other. But you have to confess your sins and your flaws and your weaknesses to the counselors that are responsible for your spirit. Endure that embarrassment so you can dodge the shame at the end. That's how you soften your spiritual blow. Get it out in front. Get out in front of it versus procrastinating and losing years of your life on the back. Don't do what so many of us have done over the years. Let that go. Psalms 69 and 7. Psalms 69 and 7.
Psalm chapter 69, verse 7.
Read that, sir.
Because for thy sake I have borne reproach.
Listen, you have to face that shame for the Most High sake. You're going to face the shame one way or the other. You're going to face shame as punishment on the back end, or you can face shame in the front end for the Most High sake to show the Most High you're trying to cleave to Him. So the question is, what shame? How do you want to process the shame? How do you want to accept this shame? Are you going to be shamed for the Most High in your confession, or shamed by the Most High because of your rebellion? This is the choice you have to make. In what form do you want to be shamed? You're better off choosing the shame of confession and letting brothers know what's really inside of you, your negative motives and intentions, and your skewed philosophy. You're better off confessing that, getting corrected by it for the Most High's sake, or get punished for holding and hiding and running and lying. Read that verse again.
Psalm 69, verse 7. Because for thy sake I have borne reproach. Shame hath covered my face.
But at least shame has covered your face so you can grow. Versus shame hitting you for your rebellion and the lying and the lack of being honest about your condition. So he's saying you're going to be in pain one way or the other. Be in pain in your confession, and the Most High will acknowledge that and bless you because. Let that verse go. Now we go to Ecclesiastes 4 and 21.
Ecclesiastes 4 and 21.
4 and 21. Read that.
God, for there is a shame that bringeth sin.
So there is a shame that brings sin. Read on.
And there is a shame, which is glory and grace.
So once again, he says there is a shame, which is glory and grace. If you endure shame up in the front, you will gain glory and grace. There is a shame that you have to face on the back end because you've been lying and running. What type of shame do you want to embrace? Are you going to be shame-faced and own up to your issues up in front and confess and be honest about the level of your filth in your spirit and let people attack that so you can eventually gain glory? Or are you going to run because you don't want to look bad and the Most High shames you in the back end and you lose years of time and you lose your loved ones and you lose good things that you had right in front of you because you didn't want to look bad? So there's different type of shames that we all have to face and deal with. Which shame do you want to choose? A front-loaded shame that's embarrassing, or a back-loaded shame where there's years of loss and consequences and loss of time and broken bridges and failures that are sometimes difficult to accept psychologically? When you've wasted 10 years of your life, sometimes it's hard to keep pushing because you keep thinking about all the years you lost. I'd rather sit back here and get embarrassed up front than sit back here and deal with the regret of burning 10 to 15 years of my life head trip and losing. Which one is a better shame to endure? I'm going to leave it at that. Israel at the water tuning in. We will see you guys on Wednesday with Shabbat Shalom class. Water Shalom.